Neighbors step in when a woman tries to adopt orphaned children. Tisha Boschman considered herself a regular person. She lived in the suburbs of Las Vegas with her husband Kevin. They both worked, she as a bingo cashier, he as an asset protection officer, and were raising 5 kids. But in 2017, when Tisha's neighbor Audrey asked if she'd watch Audrey's 3 kids during an unexpected hospital visit, Tisha said yes to the biggest, most irregular adventure of her entire life. Neighbors Tisha and Audrey didn't even know each other that well. Audrey was a single mom down the block, and one of her daughters happened to be friends with one of Tisha's daughters. When Audrey needed to go get some last-minute tests, she had nowhere else to turn. The next morning, the test results came back. Audrey called Tisha and asked her to break the news to her kids. She had stage 2 esophageal cancer, and while she was okay for the time being, her future hung in the balance. Tisha agreed to keep watching the kids while Audrey got treated. After all, it was the least she could do for a neighbor. However, it wasn't long before doctors came back with an even more shocking prognosis. They gave Audrey only a few months to live. She was getting sicker day by day, and there wasn't much time left. Audrey called Tisha desperate. "Can you take care of my children when I go?" she asked. Tisha was stunned. What else could she do? The only other option was foster care, and Tisha had been through the foster system herself. She knew it was no way for a kid to grow up. Children need stability and a loving home, so she told Audrey yes. Shortly afterward, Audrey passed, and her kids moved into the Boschman house. It was a no-brainer for Tisha. She added 3 places to the dinner table, rearranged the sleeping situations a bit, and welcomed the kids with open arms. The house was a little cramped and things got messy, but that was that. However, when Tisha and Kevin filled out the paperwork to become Audrey's kids' legal guardians, the situation got tricky. They couldn't get approved as foster parents because their home was too small. And even though both parents worked, Tisha worried whether the money would continue to feed everybody. Unbeknownst to Tisha, their community saw them struggling and wanted to help out. The Boschman's neighbor, Elizabeth Thames, reached out to local TV station Fox 5 News. She knew the station had a team called the Surprise Squad who helped locals in need. When the Surprise Squad got wind of the story, they recognized they had a special family on their hands. So they loaded up a video crew in their car and drove down to the Boschman home to pay them a visit. Caught off guard, Tisha opened the door. Her dog was barking and she had a million things to do. Who were these strangers on the porch? But when they explained they'd been sent by her neighbor Elizabeth, she let them inside. The Surprise Squad was astonished by the family's adjustment to the new living situation. The 2 oldest Boschman kids, Holly and Chad, were sleeping in the kitchen and the living room after giving up their rooms for the younger kids. This was just one change. The family had even converted their loft into a sleeping space for the youngest boys, but the foster care system required them to install a wall to make it a real bedroom. That was the big problem. The cost of putting the wall in was more than they could afford. "I can't lose these kids," Tisha said. "I may not have had them in my belly, but I have them in my heart." That's when the squad dropped the big news. The Surprise Squad already had a construction team ready to build the wall, and they'd give the family an all-expense-paid stay at a local resort during the construction. Tisha's reaction was newsworthy. Tisha broke down into tears. This was the kindest thing anyone had ever done for them, and as they packed their bags for the hotel stay, she kept thanking the Fox 5 team over and over. Little did she know the kindness wouldn't stop there. As soon as the family had left, the Surprise Squad moved all of their furniture out of the house so they could deep clean, paint the walls, and replace carpeting and doors. They also got to work fixing up the landscaping outside the home. Gone were the old beds and worn-out furniture. Local furniture stores donated new couches, tables, chairs, beds, and shelving to the family's cause. The local Nissan dealership even donated a brand new 12-passenger van. When the Boschmans returned, they couldn't believe their eyes. Not only was the house redone, but their friends and family had come to welcome them home. As they walked through the newly renovated rooms, their shock grew. Not only did the kids now have spaces and furniture to call their own, but also had new bedding, games, school supplies, and decor. Holly wouldn't have to sleep in the kitchen anymore, and Chad received $1,500 to go towards getting his own apartment. There was one more surprise left. The squad told the family they'd be receiving a year's worth of free groceries from the local grocery store. They'd be able to save money and keep everyone fed and wouldn't have to stress about it anymore. The whole family cried tears of happiness. Relieved and overjoyed, Tisha and Kevin had nothing but gratitude for their community. "I didn't do anything too special. I did what anybody in my shoes would have done," Tisha said. Now, at the end of a tough year, they could truly enjoy their Christmas miracle. "It's just really overwhelming that someone would do this for us and for our family," said Tisha.